Hello, everyone, all my viewers and all my listeners. Welcome to B3u with your girl, Bree Charles. And here we have yet another amazing, astounding woman, Miss Monique Smith. Welcome her to the show. We welcome you and thank you for coming on and sharing your experience. I am loving it. So, Miss Monique, big sis as I call her, please just tell us a little bit about yourself because I can tell everything about you and be here all day. So I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Monique Smith. I am a travel agent. So my travel agent is called Mo's Travel.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to book a cruise, get online to Mo's Travel mostravel.com/teletravel and
Okay.
look me up.
So what
Okay.
kind of travel agent like do you just do you do everything, flights, hotels, or cruises, or do you just
Well, I just um trickled back down to just doing cruises because majority of the clients that I have want to go on cruises. I have a few people that want to go to resorts and stuff like that, but majority of the people want to do the cruises now.
okay,
So,
so cruises is
so
the
I'm just
big thing.
cruising. Yeah,
Okay,
cruises is
so the big thing, the biggest thing. So
that's where
you
the money
have
comes
all right, follow the money, as
in.
they say, right? So tell me about your
Exactly.
military experience. You are a military veteran.
Okay. I was in the military for 21 years, 4 months, and 24 days. So
And how many
nonstop.
hours a minute?
Oh, honey, we didn't break it down like that, girlfriend.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what's on my DD 214.
Okay, okay.
So yeah. So I was the beginning of my career. I was just a signal air. I was a route operator, and what a route operator is basically we work with infantry and work with the radios. So like the tankers can like relay their calls and stuff like that through
So
through my
communication.
right through my system.
Okay.
Then the second 10 years, I decided to become a warrant officer. So I became a subject matter expert in information systems and security.
Awesome.
So yeah, girl.
Okay.
Mm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah,
So
how would you say your military, what your experience did? I mean, we all go through bumps and bruises in our in our military career, but would you say it was a good experience overall?
well, overall, it was a learning experience.
Learning experience.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you that because
Okay.
originally I'm from Brooklyn, New York,
Yes.
and
Okay.
joining the military, even though I was a spouse of a tanker in the military, I never encountered the the racism and the sexism that I did in the military. Not
Okay.
until I became an officer. When I was an enlisted NCO, it was okay because I was dealing with, you know, the lower enlisted as they call them. But when you switch over and become an officer, it's a whole different breed. A whole different breed.
Whole different story. So
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about your trauma because I feel as though it ties into that. What is the what is share a little bit of your story because I feel like we're going into like the whole military thing. So tell us a little bit about your
Yeah.
story. Did it happen in the
So
military? Is it military
yes,
related?
yes,
So
yes.
there you go.
It's
Tell us a
all
little
in
bit
the
about
military.
tell us a little bit
So
about your story.
okay, so being a warrant officer, you're the subject matter expert in your field. So you're supposed to know everything, almost everything. So it's like dealing with senior officers. They don't like, first of all, they don't like to see that a woman knows more than they do. But tap on the black woman knows more than the white officer. Yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know it's known that we have to work 10 times harder than the next person to get where we want to be. But when you're in the military and you're in like close proximity of these colonels and majors and stuff, and they want to take the credit for everything. They don't want the general to know that a woman Black woman came up with these ideas to make these systems work better. So I had to battle. I had one incident with a warrant officer counterpart. We go out in the field, and he worked the day shift because he likes to smoke and joke with the higher ups, and I worked the night shift. So it seemed like all the systems went down when he got off work. When he got off of his shift and we came in, it's like all the systems would go down all of a sudden. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So me and my senior NCO trying to figure out what's going on. We going through all that stuff. Everything's working on our end. So I go to his night shift and I'm like, okay, could you check and make sure your stuff is going? Because my systems, it's like I'm Time Warner and I'm the service. He's Time Warner, and then he pushes out the service to, the customers, the, everybody else that's in this warfighter. And it would just go down all of a sudden. So push fast forward, one of my captains, a female, caught one of his soldiers putting in a code. He would put a code in on his system, so I couldn't see it. So it was in on their side that blocked my system from coming in. So that's when all the services went down because I'm the one providing the service. So when she found out, when she saw him, she was like, "What are you doing?" And he kind of like closed the window on his system, on his computer. She was like, "No, open that back." So it's like stuff like that you have to battle. He wanted to get the top block. And when I say top block, it's like different grades of officers, warrant officers, lieutenants, captains, majors, so forth and so on. If you get the top block, then you're like the top of that grade, that field grade. So instead of him working with me, us working together to make sure our colonel was, G to G when the journal, no, you will knock me off. So I look bad and you can get the top block. So that's basically what I battled. I battled that with a comrade. He was a lower enlisted from me. He was a W1, I was a W2. But then I had to turn around and battle majors. So it's like, I just, but then I decided, look, I'm going to reach out to my seniors. So I reached out to the seniors up in the core level that I've worked with in the past on different assignments who knew me, who knew what I could do. And I reached out to them and they got my back. We got everything together. I jumped in on their system and everything pushed out. It's like it lit up like Christmas tree when I jumped in on their system. So then everybody started to know that it wasn't me. It wasn't me and my team that was blocking, all the services. So once I did that, I was like, you know what? Let me sit back here and stop worrying about everybody else and not even worry about me, but take control of me because it pulled me out of myself. It brought out that anger that I've never had. I've always been a laid back person.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So this is an experience for you with racism because you were an outstanding warrant officer, and this is for our viewers to kind of track where we're going. You are an outstanding Black female in your field, and you had a white major.
Yes, white major.
A white major that knew how good you were. So this affected you throughout your military career. So you said that you was a warrant the 10 last years of your service. So how?
Actually, the last 11 years.
The last 11 years. So tell me how this situation affected you and put you into a space where you were just like surviving or just going through the motions to make it through your last 11 years. And when did you start to heal, or what more did you see to say that this was a struggle for you in your career?
Okay. So I began, like I said, I reached out to other seniors, other colonels and majors that I worked with outside of my brigade that I've worked with in the past.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That I didn't have this problem with, you know, and they knew my work. So they came in, they got my back, you know what I'm saying? They was like, okay, let me see what's going on. And I was like, just let me join on you. So I joined their systems and then everything worked. You know what I'm saying? So then they realized what was going on. But what made me, what it did to me mentally was it put me in defense mode. You know what I'm saying? I was so defensive. I was so angry because I knew me and my team. So, you know, because I have a team that I work with, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to cover their back, making sure they get they good credits, you know, credit for the stuff that they do. Because I had some really smart soldiers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to stop. I was like, you coming out of yourself. This is somebody I did not recognize. I did not recognize, you know, because like I used to run into other NCOs. They was like, "You got kids? You don't seem like somebody who got kids. You're that age. You don't seem you so laid back." But then here came the angry Monique, and that wasn't who I was. And I can feel that that wasn't who I was because I started getting sick. So it's like when you come up out of who you originally are, that's when those diseases and you know, like high blood pressure, diabetes, all of that comes in because you came out of yourself. You understand what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like you letting all these different energies come and it's
Did,
pulling you
did
out
this
and it's
does this
tearing you
race
down.
did the racism affect your work ethics as well? Did you
No,
work it
no,
how you still kept pushing to be the
no.
same person you always
I kept pushing, girl. It became a fight, not to physically, you know what I'm saying, throw somebody off the roof. You understand what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I had to fight and keep my sanity. I had to fight because, like I said, I have a team. I have a team of soldiers that I'm training. I have to train them to
Were
take my
they
place.
affected by any of it? Were they
I,
affected?
I, I, I wouldn't let them get affected. It's like I took the brunt of everything, and I just explained, "Oh, it's okay. We gonna fix it," you know. But they knew that what they were doing was correct because it was validated by outside entities. You
So
understand what I'm
was it
saying?
a
So
mixture of race and with soldiers, correct?
yeah, yeah. I didn't have just African American soldiers. I had Hispanic soldiers. I had white soldiers. You know what I'm saying? And we were a team. I would always make sure they cross trained so everybody knew how to do everybody's job. Just in case somebody got sick, you know, they were able to take their time off and it wouldn't disturb the mission. But it's like they, it's kind of like they became, how do you say it? I don't even know the words for it. My comforters. They would come up and they'd be like, "Chief, it's okay. It's gonna be all right. You know, they'll bring me something to drink. You
So
know,
they saw it. They saw what was going on.
they saw it,
Okay.
and you know, and they was like, oh, that ain't right. This, that, the next one. But I started healing myself by closing off all the negative energy. I began to meditate. I began to dive deeper into spirituality. And spirituality is not Christianity. So it's like I have my own uh relationship with God. You know, some people call him the I am, Yahweh, Buddha. It's still the same person. You know, it's still the same entity. So I began to have my own relationship and I would go, girl, I was on my knees just to keep my sanity. So I finally came up out of that darkness slowly because it was a long journey. I came up out of that darkness and here I am today. I mean,
Did you ever
I
feel a
made it through.
pressure? Did you ever feel a pressure to hurry up and get over it, or something to that nature, like or talk to yourself to say this is the norm, racism always been here, whatever. I mean, was there ever those pressures to like minimize
Well,
the racism that you experienced?
well, what I used to do, me personally, what I would do is just ignore it. I'd be like, whatever, keep doing what I was supposed to do. I would ignore it. But, over time, it blows up. You can only turn the other cheek, so to speak, but so many times, and then I had to seek help for myself. And then that's when I became more spiritual. And I ran across a lady who was like, I know God put her in my path, and she helped me get to where I am now, you know? So it's like, I'm not trying to deter anyone from joining the military because everybody's experience is different.
Go and I would say that this is this your experience. It doesn't have to be just a military person. I'm sure that there are women, men experiencing trauma and in other places, other work spaces. So I wouldn't say it's just it's good for our military listeners because we all understand at some form or some part that we had to I wouldn't say I per se. If I did experience racism, I didn't recognize it because my thing is like I think I had the experience of look, we all just trying to make it back home, so we all had each other's back. Now I would say I experienced the sexism that just because I was a female, but that's why I always went hard, went strong, and then that's just for anybody, any woman of color in a workspace. We always have to prove ourselves to be the best. I watch Jasmine Crockett, amazing councilwoman who makes sure she crosses every T and every I. She has to work harder than anybody else in her field. So this is
I actually
good.
had to pick up the spirit that she has. That spirit, like, look, this is blah 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 blah, and have my receipts. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's when I had to start. That's when I say I pulled back and had to start taking care of myself. That's when you pull back and you know what you know. So can't nobody shoot you down. I can pull them regs out.
That's
pow.
Right.
Here we go. Because we had to. We had to, and even out in the workforce, out in the civilian sector, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have those receipts. So when you're trying to climb up that corporate ladder, and then people, it don't even have to be, white people. It could be your own race. Because trust me, I ran into that too. So it's like you have to know. Unfortunately, we have, like you said, we have to work harder.
You have to.
But
Even and you're right with that too. Even with I noticed one thing again in the military or in the civilian realm, just being a woman. I believe that that's a little piece of our Kamala Harris not having a successful presidency. I don't think people look at women like we are strong enough or qualified enough to do a job that a man supposedly is set to do. And those, so the,
like they've been doing it right.
even though we show our worth, we still sometimes just do not are not afforded that opportunity to do the job that we know we can. And it's funny because I say all the time, women, we are the nurturer. We wear so many hats as a woman. We not only were you communication specialist, you was a mother, you was a doctor when the kids got sick, you are, and then when you're in that top that space of being a top role, having a top role like you, or you're a warrant officer. We got women out here that is CEOs, whatever. We have people underneath us. So not only were you, the chief warrant officer of your field, but then you have people under you. And what happens with that? Oh, chief, my toenail hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Some going at home. And so, and
So
I
I had more
understand
children than what
you
I birthed.
than what you birthed, and when you're faced with things on top of, because, and I know what you're talking about, because you're always looked at to fail. And not only do they set you up to fail, but they don't, not realizing that the amount of stress that puts on somebody, because now you're fighting to prove yourself worthy of the job that you're doing. Also, you're taking care of all those soldiers that are underneath you, who see what you're going through, but they have their own struggles. So you're lifting them up. Then you got the family at home. You got the children, and you married with the ex-husband at the time.
Oh no, we weren't together when I joined the military.
Oh, you weren't together. Okay, okay. But well, you still had the children. You still had to go through all those phases. Yes. And this is what I'm saying. When I look at women, and especially if you're holding high positions, you hear some of the stories that we have to go through. I applaud them all. So I want to know, what was the most surprising part of your healing process when you said to yourself, like you said, you're spiritual, you had to look inside your spiritual self. And I heard you mention there was a lot of tools that you used, like meditation, things like that. So what surprised you when you started your healing process?
What surprised me was that all of that was already inside. So it wasn't hard for me to do it. It wasn't hard for me to look inside. It was hard for me to come out of the darkness of that anger. You know what I'm saying? But once I realized that, okay, like you said, you have to sit there and talk to yourself. Because literally I was like, that's not who you are. This is not what we're doing. What do we want? So I had to answer those 3 questions. I had to face those 3, and I was like, I got kids. I have young people I need to be here for. I have soldiers I need to be here for. I had one soldier downrange who told me he was going to kill himself. He was going to kill himself because he found out the woman that he married before he deployed, that he only known for 2 or 3 months, was cheating on him.
Right.
And and I had to take off chief and put on mama. You see what I'm saying? I was like, okay, so you're going to go ahead and just let me know when you going to do it so I can have all the paperwork ready. So her and her boyfriend can get your insurance and live out their life. And boy, let me tell you, 3 years later, I seen him downrange. He was a sergeant in the military. And we looked at each other. He was at a different brigade. He looked at me and he just smiled. I was like, you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, you gonna go ahead and do that? You think people gonna stop living because you? No, sir.
So let me ask you, the trauma that you experienced with the racism and sexism, and again, you're still helping soldiers. How did that shape did that help the trauma from the racism and sexism? And you still did what you had to do for family, soldiers. Did it help shape your purpose?
Yes, it did, because like I said, I had to stop and say, this is not you, the dark side. This is you. I'm Monique. I'm mama. I'm leader. I'm mentor. You know what I'm saying? These are things.
Psychologist. Psychologist.
Ooh, wait, let me tell you.
I know.
But it's like all those hats, I had to stand up and put them into one hat. Instead of being 5 or 6 different hats, I had to put one hat on my head and be like, this is what we're going to do. And what I did was I pulled myself together. I pulled all of those people, the mama, the doctor, the leader, the mentor, I put it all in one place. And I got back to who I was. Because originally that's who I was. I wasn't an angry person. it's like you would see me every morning. Hey, good morning. How you doing? Blah blah blah. You know, I was afraid. I knew who to. You understand what I'm saying? You sit back and you watch, and you know who to stay away from. That's gonna cause trouble in the military. But I just was. I had to get back to who I was, and then
So when
grow
you joined,
forward with it.
when you what all before we all joined the service, we all have our purpose and our reasons why. Did you just was it a reason why you joined the military?
Well, I joined the military honestly to provide for my kids because, like I said, me and their dad was not together, and I wanted them all to go to college because I've always talked to my kids. What do you want to do? What's your end game? What's your goal in life? And all of them had one wanted to be a doctor, another one wanted to be a police woman, and the other one he just didn't know what he wanted to do. But I always talk to them, come on, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do so we can get on that path. And if that's the right path, you're gonna stay on that path. If not, God will give you the way you need to be. And see, that's who I was before I joined the military.
Before you joined. So, and you just joined to make a better way for a better life for your children. You come in and you change over and you hit with the racism and the sexism. You're like, what the hell? And then
I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it because I didn't recognize it. Coming from New York, you would think so, but I mean,
it's a different.
I grew up with Italians. I grew up with Italians, Jamaicans, even the Scottish, Irish, English.
New York is the melting pot. That's the melting pot. You can find it all in New York.
Exactly. So I never had a problem with that. Never had a problem with it until I became a warrant officer. So not even as an enlisted soldier. As an enlisted NCO.
It didn't break you. It didn't tear you down. It surprised you. It shook you up. Of course, you kept going through that.
Unfortunately, you don't have no choice. It's not like I was a civilian and I could quit my job.
Right. Oh yeah.
And then go over here and get another one. I probably could have, but it would have wrecked my whole career. Like,
look, there was
ain't nobody gonna hire you. So
you had back in our time of service. I mean, you really had to be a true dirtbag to. I mean, you just literally had to sit and not do nothing in order to get removed from the military because they was going to keep you because they spent about a nice pretty penny to get you in there. So they were going to keep you in there. You was just going to do some hard work for thousands of dollars.
They didn't play with that. They didn't play with that.
So it's like, I'm sure we can elaborate more on all the. I would say I did, like I said, I experienced the sexism. And this is not just for people in the military, but in corporate jobs, experience and racism, sexism, not even just with white people, but it could be your own. So my question is, what would we say? I know what I would say, but what would you say to someone who feels like their position is not being valued, or if they're not being valued because of the color of their skin or because they're a woman? What would you tell someone? What advice can you give somebody in that position?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the first thing that came into my mind as you was asking that question. First thing that came to my mind was go sit down, find somewhere quiet, nobody's around, go take you a seat, be quiet, just sit there. And remember, forget what you're going through. Forget what you're going through. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. And once you remember who you are, it gets easier for you to come up and be like, okay, all right. You see how them shows is going back?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, right. You want to be like that? Okay. Bam.
Right.
Then you just come full force with what you got. And they cannot not recognize you because now you're walking in you, if
Right.
that makes sense. When you walk in you, cannot mess with you. They're gonna see you. They're gonna see what's going on. Oh,
They're gonna see you, but they can't. They still ain't gonna be able to stand you because they're like, oh, look at this.
Oh, but see, you cannot.
Sabotageous.
It's okay if you can't stand me, but the people who need to see me will see me.
It's like you don't have to understand me, but you're going to respect me. I was just
There
talking
you go.
to my
Exactly.
my daughter just yesterday, and I this is the same story, and she's very introverted, which you know that she's an introverted person. She's experienced a lot of bullying and a lot of things, so she's really quiet. And she was in the Navy. Navy treated her wrong, and she's like, she was telling me this an incident that happened, and she said, "Mom, she said, I need to ask you something because as we can see, racism. I mean, it's always been there, but it's been kicked up now. I mean, like, people are just free with it now. I won't say everybody because I think mostly, I will say most people." Or some people, I don't know what the ratio is, but in the area that I live in, and I am the only, the only Black person, we are the only Black family in our community. And I will say that I have some awesome, pretty level headed neighbors. But my daughter said that she was at a store at the gas station, and she was coming up to a counter, and a white man went in front of her and put his stuff down, and then looked at her and gave her the like and what type of situation. And because she has anger and trauma from the military, again with sexism and stuff like that, she was so angry and she wanted to unleash. But see, my daughter is the type that if she unleashes, like,
it's hard to pull her back.
let's all pray. And then I had to tell her, and she said, "Mom, I need your advice because as he did that, I wanted to go in, but." She said, "What I did was I just kind of she was quiet. She went ahead and let him do what he wanted to do. She paid for stuff, and then she said." When she got in the car, she was mad as shit. Like, she was mad, like, oh, I shouldn't have let that get away. And she wanted to go and find him and give him the business after the fact because she's, when you're talking about racism, sexism, bullying, and all that stuff, who kind of sometimes we just fold back in ourselves and we be quiet. And she said, "Did I do the right thing?"
She did the right thing because he was looking for it. He was
And
looking for it. He did that on purpose to look for it. And I'm telling you, Spirit told her, back up. Just pull back.
I said, yep. I'm going to tell you. And for the, I'm going to tell you, I'm very transparent. So look, I was a thug, okay? And I told my daughter, I said, learn from.
I'm not talking.
I told her, I said, listen, baby girl, I'm going to tell you why you did the right thing. Because she has two beautiful children. Had you had acted upon people's ignorance, and they don't know who they're being ignorant to, you would have done that, then where would you have been? I said, you would be in jail. And she was like, well, that's okay, Mom, because I know you're going to take care of my kids. And I said, but okay. And see, this is my message to all young people that are viewing too. Regardless what you are faced with, not everybody is going to like the skin that you're in. Hell, some of your kin, like we say, all skin folk ain't kin folk either. So some people are out here to get ahead, keep other people down. And I said, regardless of what somebody, you always have to think it out, because okay, you be in jail, but then you got to think about jail. Now you got to say your booty from jail. You got to fight for your booty in jail. And when I said that, she kind of was like, oh, well, maybe jail ain't for me.
Okay.
So this is why we have to teach our youth. We have to speak to those, because it could have been plenty of times where, like I said, mine was sexism, where I could have just blew up right then and there, been sitting in somebody's military jail or what. But the greatest lesson that I've learned is that you can kill a person with kindness and more knowledge. More knowledge.
That's
So
what I was talking about. You gotta
that,
know. You gotta know what you're talking about. And people that you know don't like you, you be like,
yeah,
"Hey, girl."
hey,
And
and
keep
just
on. And people. I didn't say socialize. I said, "Hey, girl," and keep on
yeah,
moving.
or
Keep on.
what
Or
was I?
hey, man.
Or what they say in the military? Whore meant anything.
Oh, girl, my hood was straight ratchet.
Yeah, whore could mean
My hood was like,
whore drill sergeant, whore first sergeant. That
mm-mm.
kiss my ass.
Look,
Fuck
look, look,
you,
look.
drill sergeant.
How about this one? How about this one? I say who?
I say who? I say who?
I say
And
who? I say
you know,
who?
it was so many times that I had that we as women in the military, or
It's
we
so funny.
had to use that uh, type of terminology to play the game in life. I say, "Who? I look, I be cussing
I say
their
who?
asses like fuck you, you ugly ass." You know.
Mm. It was plenty. It was plenty of times I would just stare. I would just be like, they'd be
Who?
like, "Chief, you all right?" It was just one colonel. She would just always try to talk to me, and I used to be like, I wouldn't disrespect her. If she asked me something, I would answer. But if I ain't had to answer nothing, I would just be looking at her. Girl, she was so intimidated by me. She used to give me coins every time she saw me. Here, Chief, here, Chief. And I was like, I'm not mad at you. I just don't have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
I actually had one, so I had an E4. And I think you know her. What is her name? She's from Sierra Leone. You know who I'm talking
Okay.
about?
Yes, I know what you're
Cause,
talking
'cause
about, but we won't
yeah, so
disclose
I
her
don't want to
name. But
call her.
yeah.
I don't want to call her name out. But when she got promoted, and I promoted her, she was there and she was talking, and she said something that I will never forget. She said, "My father always said, if I didn't have anything to say,
Don't
don't
say
say
nothing
anything."
at all.
So
Don't.
from the time I pinned that chick, this Cedar, well, she was E4. She became an officer, and she still kept that same mentality. She's out now. She's retired now, but
Okay.
girl, she was like, and she was. Let me tell you, I had some inspirational soldiers. I mean, good soldiers, and you have to nurture the
Yeah.
good ones. Even the ones that give you problems, you have to pull them to the side. Because I had this one in Korea. Oh my God, I had to pull him to the side and say, "You are so much better. God has so much for you in your future. You need to come correct. You need to get your stuff together and stop playing around. Get your life right and move forward." Another one, he used to just be nervous about everything. His blood pressure was all over the place. If he see this right now, he gonna be like, "Chief." It was so bad, so they wanted to chapter him out because every time he went to the doctor, his blood pressure would be high. So I sat him down. I said, "Come sit here." I said, "Does the doctor make you nervous?" And he said, "Yes, Chief. I get so scared when I go to the doctor's office." So I taught him how to meditate. Tell me why that E1, straight out of basic and AIT, is an E7 now in special forces.
Oh
He
wow.
he's in Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty, whatever they want to call it now. He's an E7, just got married, about to have a baby, and we stay in
Awesome.
contact. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
I never tore my soldiers down. Even when they was doing wrong, I would sit them down and be like, "Look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to come on. I'm gonna need you to
Mhm.
get right because what did you come in the military for? Just like I did my kids. What is your end goal? What do you see yourself doing? What do you want to do?" You sit them down, you talk to them like they got some sense. You talk to
Mhm.
them like they're an adult. No matter how old they are, they adult now because they're in the military. You understand?
And
Whether
that's
your mama
good.
had to sign for you or not, you have to sit them down and tell them, "Look, that foolery you doing right there is gonna get you X,
Yeah.
Y, Z.
And
You need to figure it
that's
out."
real good. That's real good right
Yeah.
there because that's the same thing that in my nonprofit business when I have volunteers or whatever they've done
Let me put this.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna need y'all to come and donate to the House of Humanity.
The
Yes,
House of
honey.
Humanity, like
We
whatever
help the homeless families and victims of domestic
violence,
violence.
low income
Yes,
families. And what
yes,
I would
yes.
say to our volunteers that may be doing volunteer hours for everything, you don't want to beat them down, and they're already doing volunteer work for whatever. But I had one volunteer. He was volunteer. He needed service for it because he had the DUI. And after somebody has already messed up in their life, the last thing you want to do is keep beating them down. So I like what you said about when your soldiers was messing up. And that's even, again, in the corporate world, especially for us men and women of color. If you see somebody and they messing up, don't be so quick to beat them down. Lift them up. Even though they're messing up, they may be messing up, but the only way we're going to get stronger and better is that if we police up ourselves and move as one unit. And so
you never know what that person may be going through. They may be going through something that's sidestepping. You understand what I'm saying? So you pull them to the side and be like, not in front of everybody. Don't do that, because then they get on the defense. You pull them off by themselves and you be like, look, I don't know what's going on with you, but this and this is going to get you fired. If you want to tell me what's going on, that's fine. If you don't, you need some help from me or whatever, let me know, because I believe in helping my sisters and brothers rise. There's no me without us. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, in the Black community, we need to come together. I don't give a darn if she make more money than I do.
Let me tell you.
I'm on her rah-rah. I'm like, okay.
Some people's positions go to their heads. Let's talk about that. How people's positions could go to their heads. I was a young private coming in the military from the streets of West Philadelphia, born and raised. Okay. Okay.
That combination by itself is dangerous.
I came in as a woman who has been abused her whole entire life. So when I came in, I was with the rah-rah, as we call it. Like, what? Who you talking to? I know you ain't talking to me. And again, I was 30 years old when I joined at one time. So real quick story is, I came in, from the streets, being abused. I had an aggressive nature is because I vowed to myself, nobody will ever abuse me again. I joined this army for a purpose, blah, blah, blah. Now I had a first sergeant. I ain't gonna say a name, but if she listening, you know who you are. You know it. You know who you are. But because I came in because I literally didn't have a clue. I didn't even know what an insurance bill was. I just knew I had to pay for my car or whatever, and I didn't have insurance. So a lot of things that I believe that my leadership should have done, and they were all black. All black. I believe that what they should have done, instead of looking down on me like, oh, can't get right, or can't do right, or can't, you know what I'm saying? They didn't take the time to get to know who I was so they could see how to service me. So what this first sergeant said to me? Let me tell you what she said, girl. She said, I'm going to send you back on the block. Since you want to act like you on the block, I want to send you back to the block. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be good, And she tried, that was me, but she tried to have me removed out the military and put me back on the block where she felt as though I belonged. It took a white man to look at me, and they say he was crazy. I forgot. I wish I could remember his name, but we was in Fort Lewis. Okay, that Lightning Patch Brigade. Okay. All right. And he looked at me, and he used to, when he would talk to his wife, because they brought me in the office, and he was on the phone, and he would answer his phone. Woman, that's how he would talk to his wife. They said he talked to a bird he had or whatever, but I don't give a damn. He was cool with me. He looked, and you got the first sergeant and all them, my platoon sergeant, all pieces of crap, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't care to take the time to be leaders, to find out why and what's going on with this young woman. They didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
This white man, he looked at me and he said, you know what? He said, I'm not going to kick you out. He said, what you need is some rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me my 45. I did the time. And he sent me to a new unit where I progressed. I lost all my rank. I lost every single bit of it, okay? And that was the first time too, by the way, but we're getting at that. But what he did for me was he gave me a chance. And then I went up under new leadership and I excelled. I made all my rank back. All that they took from me, I made all my rank back. And that kind of showed me that I don't have no time for, this foolishness. Yeah, I am angry, but I feel like nobody was giving, but I knew that I couldn't keep going backwards in money. I had to get right because my children don't deserve that. I ain't joined this military to keep going backwards. So I just wanted to share that story because we need to find out, find out what is the underlying thing. Why is this person? Don't be so quick to tear them down and throw them out and leave them for nothing. We have to look deep into our young people, people, they don't even have to be young. They could be in our age range, and it has to be something that has happened to make this person. Now, you can lead a horse to water, son, you can't make them drink, but at least give it a try. So I do totally agree with that. And
at least offer them the water.
Offer them, just stop, we just so quick to just give up. But that was then. But what I do now is I look back and I thank that first sergeant. She did see me. Matter of fact, in your area, she saw me and she was like, because I used to be Harvey. And of course now I'm Charles. And she saw me, and anybody that called me Harvey, I'm like, oh, snap.
Like, ooh, they remember that.
If you call me Harvey, you knew me at my raw military career, okay? And so when she said Harvey, I was like, oh shit. And then I remembered that voice. So it was like, I know that ain't this. And it sure was, it was her. And she looked at my chest, and I was wearing my staff sergeant rank ever so proudly. And then when I saw it was her, I stuck out my chest even more. Like, hey, first sergeant. Well, I think she was a sergeant major then. And I was like, I stuck out my chest and like, hey, sergeant major, how you doing? She was like, what? Look at you. Staff sergeant, I didn't even know you was still in. I wanted to say,
you know what you should have said? I
want to say, you tried to destroy me. Yes, I made, but I humbled myself, as I told my daughter, humble yourself. And that will eat at somebody even more, just to humble yourself, smile, and be like, and I just smiled like, Roger that, Sergeant Major, I made it and doing very well. And, left it at that, got her phone number. And, I have that very giving, kind heart. But I said, you know what? People like that, once you show me once, that, she could have changed, but I didn't want to even take the necessary steps because you tried to destroy me, not knowing what I've been through already. So, that's why I told my daughter, you just by, there was no need to go back and try to find them and beat them up. You can do so many other things. Yeah, because they're looking for that.
They do that.
People look for you.
They try to provoke. They try to provoke you because they want to start something. They want to attack you, have a reason to call you out your name and stuff. Yeah. But the bigger person, I know it took a lot, because trust me, I know it took a lot for her to pull it back. But you have to read these energies out here. Unfortunately, you have to read the energies out here. because it's
And
all
then
types of
let
crazy
some of
people out here.
these things that we experience to say, okay, because this things that people set for you as a failure should drive you even more to say, watch me work. You know, if people are out there and they're downing you and you're downplaying you and your skill because of your skin color or your gender, all you just got to do is sit back and be like, okay, all right, you know.
All you gotta do is, like I said, remember who you are.
Remember who you are. Remember who you are, or even do better to find who you are, and then say, once you find out who you are, nobody could take that from you. So, Ms. Monique, let me ask you, what are you doing today to protect your peace and energy now? You know, now that you're like this post breakthrough, because you are a beautiful, strong Black woman, this I know. So how do you continue to daily protect your peace, not just from the racism and sexism, but from anything that you're doing? Because I'm sure that, you know, even in business, you know, things could come up. How do you protect your peace?
Do you really want to know?
Don't mislead
Do
these
you
audience.
really want to know?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
How do you protect your peace?
We're gonna jump back to my spirituality again.
Okay. Spirituality.
When I tell you, you have to find your peace. When you find your peace and you stand strong in it, you stand grounded, ground yourself. And when I'm gonna teach you how to ground yourself. You can either go outside or you can envision yourself standing on the earth, in the grass or the dirt or whatever, and you envision these roots growing out of your feet.
Mm.
And when the roots come out of your feet and they go into the earth, you need to pray and ask the earth to send you that positive energy. And you envision in your mind's eye, you envision that white light coming through your body, through the crown of your head. You understand what I'm saying? And that white light is healing light. That's peace. So on top of meditation, you ground yourself and then you meditate. And when you meditate, that's when you sit, you be quiet, you get all of that out your mind. And it's not easy because ego is your mind. Ego is when your mind is telling you, no, you can't do that. No, that's too hard. Oh, he's not going to like that. You know, anything negative is your ego. And your ego is not who you are. It's part of you, but it's not who you are. You understand what I mean? It would take a whole lot more than this podcast for me to explain it to you, because I had to, like I said, when I began to find myself and get my peace back and take my mind back, it just brought me to this wonderful place. When I say I am so grateful for what God has given me, what he's done for me, doing for me, and what he will do for me. I don't know if you call him God, Yahweh, Buddha, Allah. It doesn't matter what you call him. He is the one source, one force, one source. You just got to be grateful. Even for the hard times, I'm grateful because it made me stronger. You know what I'm saying? You had to pick yourself up. So what I do is I ground myself, I meditate, and I give out love from my heart chakra. I send out love and peace to the world. And that's me doing my part. You understand what I'm saying? That's me doing my part in this world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
taking responsibility for
exactly
your own actions and not letting someone else determine how you feel and how you walk about your day.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I could be feeling like this. You're gonna see a smile on my face because I'm emulating myself to you. I don't want you to feel I want you to feel happy. So I'm gonna smile. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you that smile. And that's how I keep myself.
All right.
That's how I keep myself. I stay I try to stay positive. My partner drives me crazy sometimes. But
Don't talk about my brother.
oh, I love him to pieces, but you already know how your brother is. You know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
he's one of them real people. Oh, real. Like really raw like people. So you have to be like, all right, dude, don't make me go back to prison.
Right. And yeah, look, I would love for our viewers and our listeners, her husband is a Black, retired infantry man. Now with that being
hold
said,
on.
that's all kind
Wait,
of
wait, wait,
crazy.
wait, wait. I'm gonna need you to say it. I'm gonna need you to say it right.
Oh, excuse
He's a
me.
black. He's a black.
Black.
11 Bravo infantry ranger.
Ranger.
Okay,
Ranger.
he's a ranger. He's
So
a raw ranger.
our military personnel understand that he's crazy. Our civilian, they probably don't know, but I would love to interview with him because it's not we as Black women, yes, but our Black men go through some things in the military realm and in the corporate workforce as well. But that will be a later topic. So, Miss Monique, tell me what's next for you, boo? What's next for you? And what are you using and how are you using your voice today? I already stated, you did have worked with the House of Manatee, still do a lot of volunteer work. So your heart and your passion is
We're
truly
gonna be
for
fundraising soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me,
Yes.
what's next for you? Any ideas, anything that you have, any
Well,
goals that you want to do?
I'm in the process of opening an assisted living home. So we are, me and my sister. So we haven't chosen where we're going to start yet. North Carolina, because my husband's cousin has several facilities in Florida, but I want to open in North Carolina. And she started in North Carolina, so she's helping us with the paperwork. And I want to open a facility here, get my feet wet because these facilities here are kind of subpar. You know what I'm saying? And my mom and my grandmother always had clients, but they stayed with them in their homes. You know, they could function on their own, like they could go to work, but they couldn't live on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So they were semi-independent. So I grew up with that, with helping people. So that was like in my nature. So we're gonna open a assisted living home here in North Carolina. So we're working on that, and I'm just living my best life.
All right.
I gave the military 21 plus years, so now it's my turn for me. So I'm living my best life. I even love the down days when I'll be like, ooh, I'm loving it because I did what I came to do. I did a little more because I only want to do 20, but I did a year and some change more. But I'm living my best life. I don't care what nobody say.
That's right.
I don't care what nobody do as long as you're not hurting me or mine. Go ahead and do what you do, baby. I'm gonna let you know. Hey, you might not want to do that. It's up to you to do it or not. You see what I'm saying? But for Monique, I didn't say for Monique and spouse or kids. I said for Monique, I'm gonna live my best life, and that's what I'm doing. I'm living, and I'm loving my best
life. Amen, girl. And that is what B3u is about: burning, breaking, and becoming unstoppable, commanding a successful, purpose-driven life. And we are in the season of commanding. Miss Monique, I thank you for joining me. My listeners, thank you for joining us and hearing yet another awesome episode of B3u. Make sure
don't forget we are living in the times of the divine feminine. So us women, we coming up. You may not have put Kamala up there, but trust me, you're gonna have to deal, bud.
That's right. Look, Maya Angelou is one of my faves.
Oh yes, I love her.
And what was her poem?
Who's from Phenomenal
So,
Woman?
so what was the quote? Yet I rise, still I rise.
Still I rise.
Still I rise.
Oh, yeah.
Still I rise. So thank you,
I'm gonna
audience.
always rise.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us on B3u. Make sure you
Thank you for having
like,
me.
share, and comment on this podcast, and give us some great reviews. And if you want to be an interviewee, please email me, and talk to you guys later.